My name is Travis, and this is Olivia. Olivia has been with me for many years now, through many ups and many downs. I love the guitar. As a young person, my guitar gave me a sense of peace and security. I learned that there was joy that came as I disciplined myself to practice this instrument. Today I know music as a second language. Even without speaking, I can communicate to my fellow human beings the joy of being alive. Sometimes I like to think of the guitar as a drum with strings. There's a very rhythmic aspect to this instrument, even before you play a note. I said a moment ago that the guitar provided me with a sense of peace and security. Let me take a moment to explain that. We all know that guitars have strings, yes? And a guitar has frets also. The frets are these vertical pieces of metal on the neck. So at every place where a string and a fret cross, they form a point in a grid system. The grid system becomes a kind of map, coming to represent to the guitar player what music looks like. And this grid system doesn't change. It stays the same all the time. No matter how much the music of the world changes around us, it's in this unchanging grid system that I found on the neck of the guitar some sense of peace and security that grounded me as a young person when I needed it most. And that changed my life forever. So the more I devoted myself to these patterns on the guitar neck, the more reliable I became at playing the right notes at the right time. And this gave me a great sense of accomplishment. And this is what it means to devote ourselves to the fundamentals of anything. There are two basic fundamentals of music making that apply to any instrument. One, rhythm matching. Two, pitch matching. Rhythm matching has to do with finding the pulse of music. We may find in our interactions with the world that music is not the only thing that has a pulse. There are many rhythms that we may become aware of as we walk in this world. The changing of the seasons, the beating of a heart, the cadence in your stride, the clicking of a turn signal, the train on the tracks, and other things as well. We may do well to learn to detect the pulse of a conversation with a close friend, or the rhythm of our workday, or the flow of travel on the freeway. As we match ourselves to these rhythms, we may find ourselves in a state of flow, communicating with those around us who are tapped into that common pulse. So there's rhythm matching, and then there's pitch matching. Pitch matching is the second fundamental of music. Can you hear a note and sing it back? La. Our voice is usually the first instrument that we come to know as we learn to sing songs as a child. After we learn how to match a pitch, we may learn to find other pitches that complement the pitch that is already being sung, and this is called harmony. As humans, we are constantly faced with rhythm and pitch matching opportunities. How can we add to the music that is being made around us all the time? And how do we find our own unique voice in that choir of life? And when we find that we may be lacking in our rhythm and pitch matching skills, what kind of exercises can we do to strengthen these skills? The form and structure of music and art is a great place to begin to recognize patterns. As a musician, learning songs is how we become familiar with existing forms. The greatest musicians and artists are those who have studied and mastered form, and then they have taken form to another level. Examples of people like this: Mozart, Beethoven, John Coltrane, Picasso, or even social figures like Gandhi or Martin Luther King Jr. We devote ourselves to the forms that have gone before us. We then endeavor to create something that is somewhat original within that form. And then some of us go on to create form of our own, which transcends, yet still includes all the pre-existing forms. This is what it's like to participate in the creative process. As we devote ourselves to the forms and structures and patterns of music making, those fundamentals, we engage in the history of all creation. We recognize those who have gone before us. We honor our ancestors. We agree to stand on the shoulders of greatness. We acknowledge that spirit of creativity that has been arising from within us all since before we have been able to describe such things with language. There are so many beautiful things happening in our world. Some of us are privileged enough to have the opportunity, the time, the resources to study. We may choose to devote ourselves to what is true, to what has depth, to what is joyful. We may choose to discover that connection which we all share at the deepest level. If music is one of the areas where you feel somehow called to discover these deepest secrets of life, I hope that I can share with you what it is that I have discovered along the way. And this is what it means to me to be a music teacher. Music is a communication of spirit. Our music lessons have a way of calling us to a higher place or a deeper place while dissolving those lesser parts of ourself that would get in the way of that higher calling. Yes, my friends, may we find our devotion today. May we discover the pulse and the pitch of that deeper spirit that inhabits music. May we find ourselves making the music that comes from those creative depths which we all share, that place of union. May we find ourselves in the forms of the past, and then find ourselves again as we transcend those forms and find ourselves singing a brand new song. Slow-moving river on the banks of October. Slow-moving river, won't you take us to your home? Learn to practice, learn to play.